Cedar Crest Coral, was sitting on a grooming table beside her. It looked as though Aunt Peg would be showing today, too. Somehow she'd neglected to mention that. Aunt Peg had a word with the puppy, then left her sitting on her monogrammed towel. She slipped through the setups between us and came to help unload the SUV. The four of us worked together with a practiced ease born of repetition. By the time Aunt Peg and I reached the vehicle, Sam already had the hatch open. He'd pulled out the dolly, and he and Davy were loading Augie's crate onto it. In my sometimes crazy world, Sam was my rock. We'd known each other for nearly a decade and been married for half that time. I loved that he was smart and perceptive. I also loved that Sam had sun-bleached blonde hair, a killer smile, and a body buff enough to draw second looks from girls half our age. As I reached around him to grab the wooden tack box, I trailed my fingers across Sam's back. He shifted slightly in my direction and winked. Davy was threading a noose carefully through Augie's thick neck hair before hopping the big poodle out of the car. He caught the interaction between his stepfather and me and shook his head. 13 was a tough age for kids and parents both. "What about me?" asked a plaintive voice. "What should I carry?" Our younger son, Kevin, had turned 4 in March. He was enrolled in preschool now. As a consequence, he was feeling very grown up. I looked around for something to hand him and settled upon a small, soft-sided cooler. "You can take this," I said. Kev thrust out his lower lip. "I want something big." Aunt Peg leaned down and examined my choice. "Don't lose that. It's very important. The cooler has Augie's bait in it. Without it, Davy will be in trouble when he goes in the ring." The thought of his brother in trouble immediately brightened my younger son's face. Kevin had his father's sandy hair and slate blue eyes. When he smiled, it was like looking at a version of Sam in miniature. "I have Augie's bait," he echoed happily. "Cool." We moved Aunt Peg's equipment to one side and squeezed our own stuff in next to it. Sam wedged the crate up against a tent pole. Then he and Kev went to move the SUV to the parking lot. I put the tack box within easy reach on top of the crate and stashed the cooler and Kevin's toy bag behind it. Davy set up the grooming table. When it was ready, he lifted Augie up into place. I saw him cast a glance in Coral's direction and frown. Aunt Peg's pretty puppy had already been brushed out. With her dense black coat and soft dark eyes, she looked like a perfect plush doll. When Davy looked her way, Coral stood up and wagged her tail. "What's the matter?" I asked him. "Aunt Peg is showing." I understood his consternation. It had been a long time since I'd seen Aunt Peg in a ring with a poodle on the end of her leash. "Now we'll have 2 chances to win," I said brightly. "Now I'll have to beat her too," Davy grumbled. "You have a dog and I have a bitch," Aunt Peg reminded him. "We won't meet in the classes. And besides, Coral is only 6 months old. We're just here for the experience." I leaned down and whispered to Davy. "You should be happy Aunt Peg has her own entry to concentrate on. That'll give her less time to worry about what you and Augie are doing." "I heard that," Aunt Peg snapped. The woman has ears like a fox. Ignoring her, I opened the tack box and took out the tools Davy would need to start preparing Augie for the ring. A fully mature Standard Poodle dog, Augie was wearing the Continental clip, one of 3 trims approved for AKC breed competition. His face and throat were clipped to the skin, and he had a dense coat of long, shaped hair covering the front half of his body. His hindquarter and legs were mostly shaved as well, leaving only rounded rosettes on each of his hips, bracelets on his lower legs, and a large pom-pom on the end of his tail. Beginning the grooming session required a pin brush, a slicker brush, a greyhound comb, and a water bottle for misting the coat. I lined up the equipment along the edge of the tabletop. Davy looped his arms around Augie's legs and gently lowered the poodle into a prone position.